Moodz616 sucks fucking dick. What a fucking asshole, man. I met him at Wasteland. Fucking dickhead. Goddamn. Fuck him, man. Fuck.
A tisket, a tasket, a bloody basket. Cut his head and ate his leg. Now he's in a casket.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of my random horror reviews. I am your host, Moodz616, and thank you once again for dropping in, guys. Yeah, alrighty, so episode 4. And today I'm gonna do a film that is from Australia. Seems to be a common theme around my channel these days. I believe this film originally came out in Australia in 2011, released in 2012 on Australia's own Monster Pictures. And it is a slasher comedy, and it goes by the title of The Killage. Pretty cool title, actually. I really like that title, The Killage. Sounds kind of interesting. But yeah, so getting into the plot of this one, it basically centers around about 11 students. They're basically workers. They have been chosen to go on this work retreat to this camp to basically whip them into shape and get them ready for, you know, to further their career in work and in their lives and stuff. So like all these people are brought out to this camp, and you got like all these, 11 characters, and they're basically, well, they're very stereotypical characters. You have like, your pretty valley girl character. You got your asshole character. Your tough guy. Some dorky, social, awkward characters. You got everybody in there. It's very stereotypical characters and stuff. And then accompanied by a very kind of quirky camp counselor. He's kind of an interesting dude too. So anyways, after, they get to the camp and they subject themselves to the pain and torture of doing camp activities, soon after, the people that are at this camp, the kids, they start getting picked off one by one of themselves. So, that's basically the premise of the film. Now my thoughts on this one. First up, this is a horror comedy, like a slasher type comedy. Basically, how I would describe this film, it's kind of like watching, like a Leslie Nielsen film mixed with like student bodies. When I was watching it was the first kind of things that I came up with. The comedy in this is very like Leslie Nielsen kind of Hot Shots comedy and stuff. At times it's like super fucking funny and almost witty at times too. Pretty interesting, and it basically just kind of, the comedy celebrates all the stereotypical characters. The type of jokes and the things that they're saying are very kind of stereotypical to what those type of characters would actually say and do at times too. So I thought that was actually pretty entertaining and stuff. It's your very basic kind of camp slasher type film with some pretty decent and creative kills, I gotta say. It's not overly gory or anything, with the exception of a couple parts. But those parts, I think the more gory parts in the film are actually, they're CGI'd and stuff, which, at first I wasn't very impressed with, oh fuck, there's CGI in the film. But then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? It's a horror comedy. The CGI, I guess it kind of does work. It's not meant to be taken serious. The whole film's not meant to be taken serious anyways. So having a little bit of CGI in there is not the worst thing in the world. Especially with the last kill in the film. It's absolutely fucking hilarious. But yeah, so I kind of got past that. If you're going to be using CGI in like a serious-ass horror film, in my opinion, it doesn't work. But for something like this, it kind of does. So basically, the structure of this film is very... It's typical. You got the start of the film, the character starts going crazy, and you get a bunch of kills and stuff. Now, my biggest problem with this movie is the runtime. The runtime is way too long for this type of film. There's a lot of jokes, there's a lot of extended scenes. It just goes kind of over the top in certain parts. Like, after the first person is found dead in the film, there's a scene in this bathroom where all the characters are kind of gathered around and they're talking, and they're just... jokes are coming out left and fucking right. And the scene is just way too long. It's way too long for its own good. And there's actually a couple other scenes in the film that are quite extended like that too. This movie needed to be about 20 minutes shorter at least, to keep it a little more fresh and, you know, just kind of keep you kind of interested in the jokes and the progression of the film. And with that said, another issue I have with this movie is the conclusion and how it comes to be by the end of the film. It's like, so okay, you find out who the killer is at one point in the film, and it takes almost 45 minutes for the film to end. Like, it just keeps going and going. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it needs to be cut down. It needs to be chopped down quite a bit. You know, a director's cut that was 20, 25 minutes shorter of this film, I think, would work a lot better. But, you know, those are some minor things that I thought were notable. Overall, it's pretty fun. It had me laughing in parts quite a bit, actually. Even my wife was watching the film with me, and she was laughing out loud too, and that says a lot, because she generally doesn't, you know, laugh out loud at, you know, horror comedies and stuff. But there were some pretty decent jokes in this, you know. But, you know, this movie's definitely not for everybody. If you're not into horror comedies, or even like a comedy horror, this movie's more comedy than it is horror, in my opinion. Because it's just so, it's like joke after joke after joke. There is one funny character in this film. His name is Dickinson or something. And of course he's actually a dick. And, you know, that's even a joke in the film. Like, Dickinson, you're such a dick. That type of shit made me laugh, though. I thought that was pretty fucking funny. But you know, overall, there's not really a whole lot to say about it. It's a slasher comedy. With some pretty decent kills. They got inventive with them, but, you know, they didn't get overly gory with them. But like I said, the biggest problem with this movie, in my opinion, is the runtime. I think it could have been chopped down, especially some certain scenes. Maybe some scenes with guitar playing. I don't know. There's certain things that I think that could have been chopped out of this film. But overall, it's not a bad watch. I don't, like, strongly recommend the film. But it was definitely worth it, though. It was worth the watch. If I had to rate it, I'd probably give it about a 6 out of 10. You know, it's better than average, but, you know, like I said, though, it just feels, you know, in the last half an hour of the film, it's just like, wow, this movie is still going. And that's never a good thing. I think that just a little bit of editing work could have done a lot for this. And, you know, just kind of cut down some of the scenes. Like, they overdo it in a couple scenes. And I don't want to get into the scenes, because if you want to watch it, but there's a few scenes that are extended way too fucking long. Yeah, you know, it's not a bad film from Australia. So if you can find a copy of this, you know, definitely check it out. But, you know, only if you're into it. Like, I strongly warn you, it's a comedy horror. So with that said, that is going to do it for the Killage. Yeah, in episode 4 here. So I don't know when I'll be back with another episode. Like I said, these are just random postings. So, hope you guys enjoyed it, but, you know, give it a shot if you like this type of things, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.